WWE Hall of Famer Edge is removed from the SmackDown intro, giving more hints about his WWE future as his contract expires today ahead of tomorrow's WrestleDream pay-per-view, where some suggest he could sign with All Elite Wrestling. Speaking of WrestleDream, Tony Khan has doubled down on his claim that tomorrow will mark a new era for AEW at WrestleDream. LA Knight returns to SmackDown last night and joins John Cena, teaming up with the 16-time world champion to face the Bloodline at Fastlane. AEW talent reportedly had already been pushing for Shelton Benjamin to join AEW. Could the now released WWE star sign with AEW next year? Rey Mysterio retains the United States Championship against Santos Escobar last night on SmackDown. Matt Riddle reportedly has received several MMA offers after his WWE release. Jade Cargill, she was hyped up last night on SmackDown with a package, details that. Plus Dragon Lee, the NXT superstar, will be competing next week on SmackDown after his recent Raw match. The Women's Championship will be on the line in a triple threat match at Fastlane. Several top talent reportedly will not be heading to Saudi Arabia for the Crown Jewel event. Plus, Jim Ross opens up on current talks to extend his AEW contract. Hey guys, welcome back to Wrestling News 365. Hope everyone is doing very well. As always, there are plenty of news stories to get into in the world of professional wrestling. Let's start off talking about Edge and his post-WWE future, because now Edge has indeed been removed from the SmackDown intro, which could actually lead to more details about a possible signing with All Elite Wrestling. Another huge update on Edge's potential post-WWE future, as last night's episode of SmackDown has already revealed an intriguing detail. The SmackDown intro video had previously featured Edge. However, on last night's broadcast, that being September 29, he did not appear with his part of the montage removed. The speculation has now reached a fever pitch regarding whether or not Edge, real name Adam Copeland, will make his debut at this Sunday's AEW Wrestle Dream pay-per-view. Fans continue to closely watch the possibility of Adam Copeland making a surprise appearance in Seattle, as his contract is reportedly set to expire with WWE prior to the event, although there's no word yet on whether he's decided to go to AEW, stay with WWE, or potentially something else entirely, such as retire as well. With or without Edge, Wrestle Dream is already set to feature a series of big matches, including appearances from some of New Japan Pro Wrestling's biggest stars. Zack Sabre Jr. will take on Bryan Danielson. FTR defends their AEW World Tag Team Championships against Aussie Open. And Eddie Kingston will defend both the Ring of Honor World Championship and the New Japan Openweight Championship against Katsuyori Shibata. Let me know your thoughts about Edge's omission from the SmackDown intro last night. Do you think that provides any hints or details about his future, or is it just a case of because his contract's expiring, he's been removed from the intro, but it doesn't necessarily say what he's going to be doing moving forward? And speaking of WrestleDream, Tony Khan has made quite a few headlines this week saying that a new era will begin at the conclusion of the event on Sunday, having already been questioned by media regarding the comment of a new era beginning for AEW. CEO Tony Khan has doubled down on the idea, taking to Twitter to share the message from a year ago that Khan shared, inspired the upcoming pay-per-view event. Tony Khan wrote, quote, "This is the moment that WrestleDream was born, when Antonio Inoki passed away exactly 1 year ago this weekend. Inspired by a man who was an inspiration to all of the dreamers in wrestling, a new era in AEW begins Sunday at AEW Wrestle Dream. You won't want to miss this pay-per-view on Sunday." Of course, AEW Wrestle Dream is set for Sunday, October 1st from Seattle's Climate Pledge Arena. Already announced, as I mentioned, is a series of big matches. Several people are suggesting that maybe this new era will be because of Edge's debut with the company. What do you think Tony Khan means by this? Is this just a case of marketing slogan to get people to buy the pay-per-view, or does Tony Khan have big things planned? Let me know your thoughts and predictions in the comment section below. Now, this was meant to happen last week, but now it is official. LA Knight will be teaming with John Cena at Fastlane. LA Knight made his triumphant return to SmackDown on Friday after being sidelined with COVID and missing last week's main event that saw AJ Styles as well as John Cena being taken out by the Bloodline's Jimmy Uso and Solo Sikoa. Knight's music hit and he came to John Cena's rescue after the 16-time world champion was beaten down in the middle of the ring. Cena came out at the end of SmackDown and said he had a big problem. He was going into Fastlane on October 7 without a partner to face Sikoa and Uso. He said he could either rip up the contract and pretend like it never happened or stand up and fight. He asked the SmackDown crowd in Sacramento what the man who wears the words "never give up" across his heart has to say. He, of course, was going to fight. Cena said he would honor the contract even if he didn't have a tag team partner by Fastlane. He would take on the Bloodline in a handicap match. Uso's music hit and he came down to the ring with Sikoa and and Paul Heyman. Uso told Cena he wasn't making it to Fastlane, and the Bloodline attacked the star. Uso set Cena up on the announce desk, and Sikoa started to go up to the top rope to set up a splash, but Knight's music hit and he ran down to the ring to Cena's aid. Knight beat up the Bloodline, and Cena made his way back into the ring, and both men threw out their opponents. After a short stare down, Knight reached for the contract that Cena left in the ring. He took out the pen and signed his name to Cena's delight. Knight's signature makes it official. He will team with John Cena to take on Sikoa and Uso at Fastlane in less than 2 weeks. Now, obviously, WWE is still in a new era themselves. Tony Khan's talking about new eras recently, of course, that being the TKO era, merging with the UFC. And because of that merger, we saw a lot of talent releases recently. One name, reportedly, people in AEW wanted even prior to him being released by WWE, and that person is Shelton Benjamin. A long-time WWE talent, of course, has been released from the company, but had supporters within All Elite Wrestling long before that. Fightful Select are reporting that they have heard that Shelton Benjamin has had numerous talent hoping that he'll join the company in some capacity, but it doesn't stop there. There were actually talent pushing for him to join the company several months ago when there were incorrect rumors within the industry that his contract was set to expire soon. As it turned out, there was actually plenty of time left on his deal, and he was eventually released. Fightful are also told that completely separate of talent that have pushed for Shelton Benjamin, that AEW has been looking to add producers to hopefully get to a point where they could have each producer work one match per show, and certainly that could be a role that Shelton Benjamin comes in addition to working as an in-ring talent. Now, going back to SmackDown last night, Rey Mysterio retained the US Championship against his protege Santos Escobar from the LWO. Rey Mysterio retained his United States Championship over fellow Latino World Order member Santos Escobar on Friday's episode of SmackDown, but the Street Profits ruined the moment following the match to gain back Bobby Lashley's approval. 2 weeks ago, Escobar challenged his mentor to a match and said it was his dream and his career. Prior to the match, Mysterio said backstage he was going to give Santos the fight of his life, and the phrase "be careful what you wish for" would apply. With Zelina Vega at ringside, unsure to exactly who to root for, I guess, throughout the match, Mysterio and Escobar had a back and forth bout. Mysterio went to set up Escobar in the ropes for the 619, but Escobar was able to get out of the way and sent his mentor flying out of the ring with a kick followed by a suicide dive. With both men back in the ring, Mysterio very nearly rolled up Escobar after countering a powerbomb attempt. Mysterio tried to set up the 619 once again, and Escobar grabbed his legs. The Hall of Famer hit the move on his third attempt, but missed a frog splash. Escobar attempted a phantom driver, but Mysterio was able to counter and roll him up for the 3 count to retain the title. After the match, Mysterio and Escobar went to shake hands, but were interrupted when the Street Profits jumped into the ring and beat both men down. Bobby Lashley's music hit, and he came out clapping before stomping Cruz del Toro from making it to the ring to defend his LWO stablemates. Even Dragon Lee, who was watching the match from the front row, had to be restrained by security to keep him from jumping to help. After the match, Mysterio and Escobar were seen backstage getting tended to. Mysterio said that the Street Profits can't act like they run SmackDown. Mysterio challenged Montez Ford and Angelo Dawkins to a tag team match against himself and Escobar at Fastlane on October 7. I was speaking of some of the releases. We spoke about Shelton Benjamin. Another person that was released was Matt Riddle, and reportedly he's already got quite a few significant offers post-WWE. Matt Riddle announced last week that he was no longer working for WWE. Veteran wrestling journalist Dave Meltzer claimed earlier this week that one major MMA company had shown interest in bringing Riddle back to the combat sport. In the latest edition of the Wrestling Observer newsletter, Meltzer wrote that most pro wrestling promotions are interested in signing Riddle, while MMA companies, Professional Fighters League and Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship, were looking to snap up the former UFC fighter due to his name value from WWE and because of his MMA ability. Meltzer mentioned he could easily see PFL wanting to put Riddle against Jake Paul, the brother of part-time WWE star Logan Paul. He wrote that Paul is set to enter the world of MMA, and a debut clash with Riddle would be one of the more marketable choices, with PFL likely looking for a name opponent that Paul could potentially overcome. It was announced earlier this year that Paul, who defeated Nate Diaz in his 8th professional boxing fight last month, had inked a multi-year deal with PFL. Of course, Riddle has an extensive MMA background. His last MMA fight took place in February 2014 for Titan Fighting Championship, where he defeated Michael Kuiper via submission in the 2nd round. His time with the UFC, which lasted from 2008 to 2013, came to an end after he failed a second drugs test. His victories over Chris Clements and Che Mills were overturned as a result of testing positive for marijuana. It said that WWE released Riddle because he burned through too many chances with the promotion. Now, last night on SmackDown, we saw a hype package for the newest WWE signing, that being former AEW TBS champion Jade Cargill. Jade Cargill has been formally introduced to WWE fans on last night's episode of SmackDown, debuting in a news segment hyping up her signing. With WWE commentary pausing to note that Jade Cargill had signed with WWE, there was a video featuring various media articles about the signing, as well as photos of Jade. Touting the social media frenzy of the latest WWE signing, it was reported that Jade's signing video and arrival at the Performance Center clips were viewed over 20 million times. Presenting Jade as a strong and valuable commodity, her obvious star power was referenced, as well as her drive to succeed. Ending the segment, Corey Graves added, quote, "There is a storm coming to the women's division. Trust me when I say Jade is a game changer." So WWE already hyping up Jade Cargill's impending debut. And we spoke earlier on about this. Dragon Lee is spending more time on the main roster. After Dragon Lee failed to capture the NXT North American Championship against Dominic Mysterio on Raw, he popped up last night on SmackDown. At ringside to taking the happenings, Dragon Lee drew the ire of Austin Theory, who was having a match against the returning Cameron Grimes. Grimes was last seen on WWE TV back at SummerSlam in August, where he lost in the SummerSlam Battle Royal, which was eventually won by LA Knight. In the end, Theory picked up the win, but after the match, approached Dragon Lee at ringside, where the pair exchanged words. Grayson Waller encouraged Theory to move along, saying it was time to leave and go celebrate. However, Theory remained agitated, and it definitely appeared at the time that we were going to be getting a match between the two. In an update to that, Dragon Lee versus Theory was now officially confirmed for next week's October 6th Fastlane Go Home edition of SmackDown on Fox. So we're going to be getting more Dragon Lee on WWE main roster television. Now, speaking of Fastlane as well, a Women's Championship match has been confirmed for the upcoming PLE. A Women's Championship match has been set for Fastlane coming up on October 7, and it was announced on SmackDown it will be a triple threat match when Io Sky defends her title against Charlotte Flair and Asuka. Prior to Flair's match against Bayley on SmackDown, the Queen grabbed a mic and asked what happened to the leader of Damage Control. Flair then announced she would be challenging Sky for the title after defeating Bayley. Flair did defeat Bayley with a spear. Following the match, Bayley said Flair can't cut to the front of the line for a title shot and said she was going to end Flair. Before Bayley could get the chance to jump Flair, Asuka's music hit and she ran down to the ring. Asuka and Flair sent Bayley, Sky and Dakota Kai packing after they surrounded the ring. Asuka said something in Japanese on the mic. Bayley responded pretending to understand what the Empress of Tomorrow had said and stated that yes, Asuka could also have a title shot against Sky at Fastlane, making the match a triple threat match. Flair and Asuka looked pleased in the ring, but Sky looked at the stable's leader in confusion. So that match is set for Fastlane. Where do you think this one is going to go? Do you think Sky retains, or will Charlotte Flair once again win the title, or will Asuka reclaim the championship that she lost recently? Now, let's talk about Crown Jewel just a little bit here, because it's the next upcoming PLE after Fastlane, but it might be missing some big stars that were previously expected to appear. WWE shows in Saudi Arabia have typically been a star-studded affair over the years, with the company often flying out as many big names as possible over to the Middle East, normally including legends and outside athletes such as Tyson Fury, etc. However, things may be different on the November 4th edition of Crown Jewel, as some top stars are set to stay behind this time, according to the Wrestling Observer newsletter. That's because WWE is scheduled to do house shows in the United States on the weekend of the next Saudi Arabia date, making it impossible for all of the roster to travel. WWE will be running its typical Friday night show that is reserved for SmackDown, although this will not be a regular taping. It appears that WWE will be taping 2 episodes of the Blue Brand the week prior in Milwaukee, which is what WWE has typically done in recent years, as it allows those involved in the premium live event to travel earlier. However, with WWE still running an event that night and the rest of the weekend, a number of big names will have to be left behind in order to put on a show for those that have purchased tickets. WWE hasn't run house shows on the weekend of a Saudi event in the past, so this will be new territory. There is currently no word on who will be left behind in the United States. No matches are confirmed for Crown Jewel at this point, but John Cena has been advertised, and it has been reported that Roman Reigns is expected to be involved as well. As for the match that Roman Reigns will be having, we don't know at this point. We'll have to wait and see. Finally, Jim Ross has opened up on his talks to extend his AEW contract. AEW commentator Jim Ross had provided an update on contract talks with Tony Khan ahead of his current deal with the company expiring. With JR previously revealing that his contract was set to expire at the end of September, there has been a lot of speculation about the veteran announcer's role within AEW moving forward. Speaking on his Grilling JR podcast, Jim Ross confirmed that he and Tony Khan had a discussion about his contract last week, believing that he and AEW will come to an agreement regarding a new deal. Jim Ross said, quote, Tony Khan has answered a lot of my prayers, and I hope to continue working for AEW for the foreseeable future as our goal. That's Tony goal, that's my goal. Tony and I had a nice chat about my contract last week at TV, so our things are well in that regard. I'm sure that between Barry Blue, my agent, the legal department at AEW, they're going to get something worked out. That's my belief. I'm being positive and optimistic, so this is the best case scenario for me that I could imagine working for a young company where you go to work, you feel invigorated, you feel excited, you're around a lot of great young talent that wants to be stars, and this group helps a lot of talents. They work their ass off. Of course, JR has been part of AEW since the promotion was founded back in 2019. But there you go, guys. This is the latest pro wrestling news for you. Be sure to smash a like on the like button. Be sure to subscribe bottom right hand corner. As always, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, and I'll speak to you again very, very soon. Hey guys, thank you for watching, listening, streaming, or however you come across this video today. Be sure to click on the video on the right there to watch our next video, or click the bottom there to subscribe, or the bottom right hand corner. Thank you very much, and I'll speak to you again very soon.